I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
He was gobbling fucking wieners and buns.
I want to go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's going to happen on Saturday.
And we're back. We are back. A little bit of a little Thanksgiving Eve recording of the MMA Analysis. I'm here with what seems to be our new usual, the Kentucky Sodsman, Wes Colvin. How's it going? I know you're a little on pins and needles about the Big Blues, about the Big Blue team as currently constructed, right?
Man, yeah. It's young, man. You know, it's always young, but it's the youngest team in college basketball this year, and I don't know, man. We lost Jared Vanderbilt to injury, and you know he was top 10 5-star guy, so that was a big loss, but it ain't coming together yet, man. I tried to anoint a new god, and he just he's not showing royalty like stuff yet. But it's still early, man. You know how Cal coaches these kids up, dude. And he gets them right for February and March. So we'll see. The last time we had a team like this, and I said I see Sweet 16 exit written all over us. I think we ended up playing all the way to a title game. So hopefully we do that again, but it's going to be a long road.
Seems that way. And
what about the Knicks? What about the Knicks?
The Knicks. It's a very cool feeling. The Knicks are defending the fortress at home. I think they're 8 or 9-3 at home, and they lost. I think to Detroit at home is having a really good year. Houston. And they have one other loss at home to another like quality team. Trying to remember who it is. Oh, Cleveland. Oh, that was a disaster that game.
That was a rough one.
Yeah, I should have won that one. But they're defending the fortress at home mainly. You know, the road is still questionable, but the NBA, you get wins at home, you sneak out a few road wins, you make the playoffs. It's the area is feeling it. When the Knicks are playing well, New York is as good, if not the best pro basketball town in the country. It rocks here. It really does. And there's a little bit of belief that the Knicks have a little something this season. No one's obviously thinking they're going to go deep in the playoffs or anything, but just being competitive on a night in, night out basis, and you know, making the playoffs and maybe potentially even making the second round of the playoffs would be a marked improvement over a team that people honestly thought before the season was kind of going absolutely nowhere. So Jeff Hornacek is definitely, you know, after all the bullshit with Phil Jackson last year.
Isn't it pretty crazy when you get the old senile old man out of the way, let the coach him up, and get rid of the guy that goes ISO 50 times a game and jacks up the ball 50 shots a game? It's pretty wild. What a team can do, you know, you kind of center around your actual talent and Porzingis and let the coach them up. Good things happen, you know.
Yeah, definitely has been. Moving over to the other side of the border, the Canadian teenager is back. I know he's excited about his Oilers, or I don't know what's going on there, but certainly not good.
Tonight I'm excited because I laid the wood on him, but I bet him every single time I was in Vegas, which was 4 times, and I went 1-3 like a goddamn mook. So that was something. It's a pretty rough start to the season. Hopefully they can turn it around sometime soon, or I'm just gonna, you know, cry myself to sleep every night.
Yeah,
just get him some McJesus nude shots, and he'll be good.
He can make it better.
All Sean wants for Christmas is some McJesus nudes. Somebody take care of it.
It's true.
I'm sure you can work on that. So, I have to say that I'm pleasantly happy I didn't watch the last card live. UFC Fight Night 121. I was, where the hell was I? It was a Saturday card, right?
Yep. Yeah,
I was
last
out.
Saturday.
Oh, I was out doing some day drinking. Came back for the fight card.
Passed out.
And like,
Passed out.
yeah, I started like I think I watched like part of one of the fights and then just passed out. And then I was like in and out of sleep. And I was like, oh, I'll watch it in the morning. And that was the best thing I ever did because you know, from what I understand, it was a UFC record for longest fight card. But for me, it was only about 2.5, 3 hours with all my fast forwarding jobs.
Yep.
So I was pretty happy about that. But for you guys,
Well, I was
man,
lucky too, Jay.
how was that?
I was coming back from Vegas, so I didn't watch it live either. I skimmed through it pretty
So
quickly.
I'm the only mook.
So Wes, you were the mook. How brutal? Tell me how brutal that was.
That pacing.
Oof.
Dude, like you get all those decisions and then you put it on TV as a TV card, and somebody that one chick on Twitter does all the spreadsheets and shit about. I mean, the main event, literally from the time that the co ended to getting the fighters in the cage for the main event, there was like 12 or something in 40 something minutes of time. Like, that's just unacceptable, man. Like, there's no reason that a fight card should be going to 1:30 a.m. Like, and you said it before the show, like, imagine the people like there, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you imagine being at a venue for like 8 hours and then getting out there at 1:30 in the morning? Like, you can't go get drinks and get some dinner and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's ridiculous, man.
Any chance that this changes with the new, with them negotiating the new TV deal? Like, do you think making a little bit smaller fight cards and putting them on earlier, if there's any chance of that? Because, like, I'm fine.
Might go all online, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we're under the we'll say that it's on cable still. Like, I don't know if I could be as anywhere near the fight fan if I lived in the East Coast. I don't know how you guys do it. The fights end usually around 11 for me, and that's fucking late enough. I don't know how you guys do it.
We're used to our sports ending later. That's just the reality.
Yeah, we've just become accustomed to it.
I guess if you watch West Coast sports in the East Coast time zone, then that's just the way it is.
Yeah. I see with that, it's blocks of TV time and shit. Like, the networks are usually gonna, like, it's a 10-1 block, you know, and that's usually how it is and how it's gonna be on most channels. I wonder if they're gonna go, because apparently networks are laughing at their asking price right now, like literally laughing them out the door. And it's, you know, it came out last week that Amazon is looking at it. So I'm wondering if they go to straight streaming service. Like, I don't know how good Amazon streaming is, but could almost imagine them taking over the running of maybe Fight Pass and running UFC shows. I mean, you got to figure you're going to get less commercials if it goes to Amazon streaming. I mean, I'm sure they're going to. I don't know if that's the case. The
problem with that is that this is only the US TV deal, and they have separate deals everywhere else. Like, for instance, this card that's on Saturday, it's actually, the main card is on my TV, is on the Fight Network. It's also on UFC Fight Pass, but it's on the Fight Network for us.
Yeah.
And every, like, other places in the world have TV deals, and they have to fucking do it hour blocks. So I don't know if it'll change that much.
Yeah, but like 20 or 25 of the UFC events are actually catered towards the US TV deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, all the fight night shows with the, you know, are pretty much done for our
Fox. Yeah, it's Fox shows
due to US TV contract. The Brazil ones are done for Brazil. They're contractually obligated to do so many shows a year in Brazil for Globo. I think there's a couple.
This China show, they have to do one China show over there and play it their time. That's why it's on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's to their local time.
Yeah.
The same way the European fight cards are. The Australia thing, I guess, is different. Like, it's still catered.
Just because there's so much time difference there.
Like, why on earth? Why on earth would you have a fight card that's done at like 10 a.m. local time? It's clearly done for like a U.S. television. It's clearly done for
absolutely.
American television contract, which is disturbing to me. But
they're in a weird spot, man. After just this 2 week period, man. That card last week, how bad that was, how long that was. Then look at this card. Like, seriously, we'll talk about it, but one of the worst cards that I've ever seen, like 20-something years, ever seen.
Because all we've talked about this like 100 times. All they have to do is basically like come up with like a different series name, and it would be okay. Like Strikeforce had challengers, and when they did that, it was like, oh, you get a main event, and you get a bunch of other fights, and you're already kind of telling people that it's not the same caliber.
I don't think they want to degrade. They don't want to wash out the UFC branding.
Really bad.
They just want it
really
all about
bad,
UFC
man.
branding.
Because I don't think they care about the 20, the tens of thousands of hardcores that watch all these events, and like they're the ones who are bitching and moaning because the other people are just looking at the main event and saying, "Oh shit."
But
like, they don't recognize the other fighters anyway, so they're just looking at the main event and are like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool main event." Oh,
I remember that guy.
Yeah, of course.
Big fighting. Oh, cool.
Well, they're like almost every card now, especially like this whole like used to be able to put like lower level fighters, and you knew them though, like they had their own style, like. Hook Nose was talking about it earlier, man, with this Reebok deal. Like, you got all these guys and girls in the same outfit walking out. It's black. It's no face. It's just another body. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I get with like the Strikeforce series back then, but those lower level fighters had their own style, their own, it's bad now. It is really bad. Like, some of these people on this card, dude, it's like they wouldn't be on no Strikeforce Challenger series. They'd be pulling these dudes out of bars, Yeah,
but but it all comes back to I mean, I'm going to defend them a little bit because this event is just catered towards a local audience. It's not
definitely.
It's not meant for us. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be an overwhelming card. It's done as an entry into a new market to have some fighters that some locals can say, oh yeah, I could root for this Asian guy. I mean, that's really, or this Chinese fighter. That's really what they're aiming it for. It's not being built to overwhelm and to be their top event. And
we're just getting more and more of this. Like, we're getting more and more of these, and less of 217,
I gotta interrupt to say the Knicks 28-0 run just ended.
Jesus.
They went on a
28-0
run.
Shit together.
They went on a 28-0 run over 8 minutes.
Decent.
Wow. Decent. Anyway, that's that. So,
but I just wonder, like, in this day and age, when sports watching is down pretty much across the board, and especially the UFC, I would hope that they're trying to do something about it. Like, think of ways to increase viewership, whether that's smaller fight cards or earlier.
So here's the
I
negative.
Don't think they are.
Here's the negative. So if you do a smaller fight card, that means the show is shorter, and therefore you have less commercials.
Yep.
And there's less revenue for the network. So that's the big problem.
Yep.
Yeah, but then I guess that you can look at it in other ways. If you get more viewers, and I know that there'll be less actual ads, but if you have more viewers, that kind of offsets that, right?
Well, you're not gonna negotiate. You're not gonna negotiate new viewers usually until your next TV contract. Like, what they're negotiating now is the viewers they had on this TV contract, which is fucking pretty shitty, I would imagine. And you're selling those time slots again. You're selling however many X number amount of cards you got to do for Fox or whoever, and those time slots. I don't see that part changing.
Any chance they do less pay-per-views?
I
know people have talked about that, but you think that's
I think they said something like they're cutting like one or two because the schedule already came out, most of it. I think the pay-per-view schedule for next year, but it's still almost the same amount.
They're doing like 3 pay-per-views in the first fucking quarter.
Yeah,
they've historically
they're doing
that.
like 4 or 5 less cards next year. Which,
Oh, I'll believe it
when you're
I see
doing
it.
50 cards, 60 cards, whatever,
That's
5 ain't shit, you know.
They've done. I
Yeah,
think they've
man,
done like the last like 2 or 3 years. It's been like 42, 43 events, which is a lot. I mean, a lot of it all comes down to the TV contract and how many
Yeah.
events they have to do for Fox. If they would they be doing as many if it wasn't for the Fox deal? I imagine probably not.
Yeah.
But why do you need to do a 13 fight card? Like, why can't you do a 10 fight? Why can't you just do like 10 fight cards? Like, is it necessary? And have 2 fights on Fight Pass and then do like 8 on television? Like, would that be such a bad thing?
Nope. 2, 4, and 4. That works for me.
I give it 2 or 3 years, and the Fertittas are going to be coming back with about 20 million, buying the UFC back. And then the sport will get better.
It might be a little bit higher than 20 million.
They'll call fucking Joe Silva off of Barbados or where the fuck he's chilling, drinking, laying on a beach, and like, Joe, let's put this shit back together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's become bottom line to me. Like, to me, all I read anymore and see is you're going to get a really good card 4 times a year. Everything else is going to be fill-in. You're going to have some good fights here and there, but they got bills to pay. That's how I see it now.
I think the pay-per-view is pretty good next week.
We've gotten some good ones. But it's like when you throw like 2 or 3 really good pay-per-views together, like within a month or 6 weeks, like everything
decimates
around
everything else.
Yeah, everything around it is trash for like 2 months.
3 months, yeah.
Yep. That's where they're at. That's how thin they're spread though. Like they are spread so thin with all those cards all over the world. I mean, this one, like, I get it's local, like you're saying, and shit, and built for that. But what is it, like 10 debuting fighters? There's like 7 fighters coming off a loss. There's like 1 fighter coming off 2 losses, making his debut. Like, that's trash. The UFC, the name means nothing anymore. Like, you can't trot this shit out and say
UFC caliber is not a fucking thing.
Yeah,
I think I just saw Spike Lee run out on the court, walking up and down the sideline, doing traveling signals. He's so hyped up.
Good old Spike. What the hell was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. This, like, it sucks because it felt like after 217, it felt like there was a bit of momentum there. There was some people talking about stuff, and then you kind of got some pretty bland cards coming right after that with last week's card. I mean, the one before that was all right, but last week's card was pretty damn rough, and then this one's a pretty big dumpster fire.
There was a lot of momentum after 217, man. I mean,
it almost would have been better if there was no fight cards.
Yeah, if it would have been almost like back in the day, 6 or 7 years ago, if that pay-per-view hit and they let that resonate for fucking 3 or 4 weeks,
And
that would have done
fight night card.
That would have done them 100 times more goodwill than rolling out this trash they have the past 2 weeks.
But I guess maybe it's just us that care about this, because I guess the people that were kind of more excited about 217
ain't watching.
Maybe they're not watching this. They're just going to show up maybe for 218, and that's what it is.
Yep. That's the smart people nowadays. We're the we've invested like too much of our lives and shit. Now we're like committed. We're like watching The Walking Dead. It's like, fuck it. I've watched this show for 7 years. I ain't giving up now. It's so goddamn terrible, but I can't.
They got me.
I gotta finish it.
I gave up after the first
me.
episode of season 7. My wife says this. She like literally cried the episode. She couldn't watch it anymore after that nonsense. After certain people were killed off, and
I do it for the wife almost. And it's like I said, it's one of those shows to where you watched it from the beginning and you just can't. You can't like, I can't give up now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna sit through.
It's hard to give it up. I get it.
One thing
anyway
that came out today, I don't know if we want to talk about it. It's probably better than talking about this upcoming fight card, but the Bellator Heavyweight tournament, the matchups just got released, eh?
Oh yeah? All right, do share. I haven't heard that yet, but do share.
So the first, there's only one that has a date, and that is Sonnen versus Rampage. It's going to happen on January 20th.
So why is
Rampage didn't even know it was a tournament?
Is Rampage the 1 seed? What are we doing here?
I don't think
Rampage didn't even know he was in a tournament.
There's not seeds. They're just.
We can all agree that Chael is the 8 seed, right?
Well, they're going to kind of do it like you did the old school tournaments. They'll let them fight, and then whoever's left, how like Pride used to do it. They'll pick matchups. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be like a set.
Yeah, it's not seeded. It's just.
But hypothetically, we can agree that Chael is the worst fighter in this event.
Oh
right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a 185 pounder. The dude, they said. I read something last week. They said he's up walking around at 218 pounds. Could you imagine Chael fucking Sonnen what he looks like at 218 pounds?
Balloon.
If he ain't on the juice,
he's like Calvin Gastelum at that point.
Man, he's gonna look like Johnny Hendricks out there.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh.
So then the next matchup is Mitrione versus Roy Nelson.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you never know. Mitrione could get flatlined. Well, that's a rematch, right?
Yeah.
Because Roy beat him in the Ultimate Fighter, knocked his ass out.
Mitrione was looking great for like 2 minutes, and then got clipped. Now,
which Nelson hasn't done in 5 years.
Right, that's the reason it's interesting.
Yeah. The third matchup is Bader versus King Mo.
Okay.
So that's another one that's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And then we got Frank Mir versus Fedor.
Man.
How does Mir lose that fight?
Hey,
he
shouldn't.
He could get flatlined.
He could.
What?
Yeah, he could.
He could get flatlined, man. Oh, fuck
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about this stage, man. I don't know.
Frank should win that fight, but man, it's been how long?
How long has it been?
Man, yes, it's his fault. It's been a while, ain't it?
Yeesh. Let's see.
Got to be pushing a couple years.
Are we going to get future prices on these fights?
I think Bagel's already released some future prices.
There's a couple.
I meant future winner as opposed to future fights.
Yeah, I think Bagel's on his site released
and I think there was
tournament winner.
Yeah, and then there's one other site, but none of the big guys have released it. So Frank,
what are the odds that you're saying?
I don't know. I haven't seen those. Let's see if I can find it. Frank Mir, last time he fought was March 19th, 2016, where he got knocked out by Mark Hunt.
And and then the fights before that, he's got like 5 knockouts before that too, right? Him getting fucking killed.
They weren't first round KOs though.
I mean,
Barnett
remember the Junior Dos Santos fight?
A light heavy is going to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, Bader's going to win.
That's why I'm curious to see what
Bader's going to win the whole damn thing.
So
we get over plus 200 on Bader.
Yeah, I thought it was like plus 300 or something like that.
No shit, huh?
Bagels put Mitrione plus 200
as the favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Bader is plus 260. Frank Mir plus 380. Nelson plus 500. Emelianenko plus 500. Any other fighter plus 1,000. Sonnen 1,200. King Mo 1,200 and Rampage plus 1,500.
Why is there any other fighter even? Why is that even?
I'd take some
guys
Bader
get injured. Just like with the Strikeforce one where Cormier came in and won it.
Yeah, because fucking Shane Carwin is trying to get put in there as a fucking alternate.
Yeah,
he said he's been calling and shit
as an alternate.
I'd take Bader. I'd take Bader and Mo, and whoever wins that fight is going to win that tournament.
I don't see how Bader loses to King Mo.
I don't either. But if he gets caught with something, I think Mo could beat all those other guys too.
I don't know about that.
He could wrestle all of them other guys. I'd take plus 1,200.
Yeah, I mean plus 1,200.
Yeah, at that line,
it's not bad. Mitrione the favorite at plus 200. Interesting.
I don't see that.
Nah, I mean Bader's gonna win. Bader stays.
He's just he's a mental midget. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, he should have.
Do you really
beat
trust?
Fedor, and he got fucking dropped by him.
Can you really trust your money at Mitrione at plus 100 to actually win 3 straight fights?
No, you might as well just fucking bet each individual fight.
Shit, win. I can't trust him not to get knocked out in that many straight fights.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah,
I don't
plus
get that.
plus 200 on Mitrione to win what 4 fights against these guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
you
easy.
might as well bet them straight. Yeah, you might as well bet each individual fight.
He'll probably get a better line on just doing open parlays and putting his
Completely
fucking,
agree.
Yeah.
You would. So let's jump into some of these fights. We'll just kind of quickly recap the last UFC card. Preliminary fight pass. This Adam Weierzorek defeated Anthony Hamilton by decision.
Man,
We'll get to that quickly.
I can't believe it.
Eric Shelton runs over Janelle Loaiza, just winning by dominant decision, and then this Nadia Kassem. She looks like somebody. I can't really figure out who it is, but she does. Beat Alex Chambers again. We'll continue with this theme by decision. I got one question for you guys. What was the most surprising element of this Fight Pass portion of the card? I know what mine is, but I'm curious to hear what yours is. I'll start with Wes.
Surprising element?
Yeah. There's only one element here that we could be talking about.
Anthony Hamilton didn't get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Bingo, bango!
Yeah.
Give Sean $100 American.
Yeah.
This is big money.
Yeah.
How
Exchange rate.
the hell did he not get KO'd? That's a huge achievement. That might as well be a win.
Give
So
that
is-
man a bonus.
Did he retire after this fight? I don't know. I wasn't on Twitter. Did he retire
think
again?
so. I don't think so, but does this Weierzorek, dude, he looks like he's 40 years old, but I think he's like 28 or something. He looks like he's
Got a little skill. I mean, I
he's
don't
got
know.
zero punching power.
As case in point, he went to a decision with fucking Anthony Hamilton.
You can have skills at heavyweight and shit and everything. If you ain't got punching power at heavyweight, man, you're in for a long fucking night. You gotta have a little bit of punching power at heavyweight. Got
You
to.
can't win.
Not
The only guy who kind of got away with it a bit was Daniel Cormier. I mean, he even has some punching power, but not, he's not knocking out like dudes on the regular. But
He
he's
could
able to
even get
avoid
Hamilton.
And he
everything.
has elite wrestling.
Yeah, and he was on top of Hamilton for minutes in this fight and couldn't like ground and pound him out and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's not good.
Stunning stuff. Anyway, moving up to the television portion of the card, and there was actually some finishes here. Not in this first bout. Frank Camacho beat Damian Brown in the fight of the night by split decision. I don't know what Dan Hardy was looking at, talking about this fight like it was like some all-timer. I mean, it was entertaining, but let's not get carried away.
He's terrible.
It was a fucking good bar fight.
And what might be my favorite performance of the night, Mark Hunt's training partner, Tai Tuivasa, flying KO over Rashad Coulter.
Damn.
And then the biggest upset of the night,
Ugh.
Nick Lentz subbing
Justin Scoggins.
Justin Scoggins Brooks by guillotine. And then a catchweight bout. And this guy's starting to grow on me. Ryan Benoit, head kick KO over Ascan. Wes, I'll let you start here. Thoughts on these?
The Damian Brown Camacho fight that was a really fun fight, but yeah, I mean it wasn't like some
It was a good bar fight. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a good scrap. I mean it's what you needed on this card.
Yeah.
Because
Fuck.
and then man, that flying knee KO was legit, and this is guys like another one of those big dudes. It's not like all muscle bound and shit that I think is like a good thing, because he's all natural. He's got some power. Those dudes usually don't gas real hard and shit. So I mean, who knows? Dude's like 8-0 now. I mean, maybe he's a big dude with some punching power. We can see.
He's super young, man.
Young and not. He trains with a good heavyweight and Hunt, but I mean he's not getting like the greatest training. Who knows if he gets to an American camp or something? But definitely interesting. No, Willie Brooks, man. I just don't know if that guy. I don't know if the guy's he's just not that good, man. I know he had some big wins in Bellator and stuff, and I'm not a Bellator hater like a lot of people are. He fought good guys in Bellator, guys that are going to be good anywhere in the world. I don't know, man. He was dominating this fight, like completely dominating. But you know, I don't know how Lynn said the sub was like 15-1 or something, because that was really one of his only ways to win this fight was to catch something like that, and man, he did. And yeah, I'm with you, Jai. I like Benoit, man. I bet on that kid a few times, but man, he like broke his hand again, and this dude's like a guy that his career is going to be ruined by injuries. Like he's been hurt so many times. He's lost a year and stuff here and there. I don't think that guy can stay healthy. He's just one of those dudes he's got brittle fucking bones, man. He throws a punch and he just crumbles. I think they said he broke his hand in like the first few minutes of the first round. So, that was a nice head kick, man. Those were 4 pretty good fights right there in the middle of the card.
Yes, Nushan.
I was actually pretty impressed with Tuivasa. I know the guy he was fighting is not much of anything, but just his fluidity and his strikes, his calmness for the first time fighting in the UFC in his home country. And I mean, that's impressive what he did. He's got some athleticism. I'm sure he has a hell of a chin, as do most guys from Australia and stuff like that. But I was pretty impressed. And heavyweight's a dumpster fire, so maybe we got something there. Will Brooks, man, he beat Michael fucking Chandler twice, and he has lost to Nick Lentz. And oh, man, like he's just choking. Like, is it USADA? Is it just he's just not that good? Is he just a mental midget?
You see those stats? It ain't USADA. I think Will Brooks is like, what I hate so much about that is all the fucking Bellator hating fucking douchebags that use that, and it's like, oh, see, Bellator sucks so bad. It's like, man, fighting for like and then you turn on this card Saturday and you see fucking these fucks that they're about to roll out there, and you're like, yeah, Bellator's so shitty. Like, come on, man, get over it. That shit's so played out. I'm just so tired of that shit. Will Brooks beat, like you said, Michael Chandler twice. I don't think anybody can say Michael Chandler is some shitty fighter because he fights for Bellator.
Yeah. And Trash Can Mukhtarian is Trash Can Mukhtarian.
That's right. This stinks.
Yeah, he's done. See ya.
Nice face tattoo, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a snake. It's not.
Main card.
Yeesh.
Alex Volkanovski's back, and he had no problems with Shane Young at all. He's certainly one of the most intriguing featherweights, I'd say, on the roster. In terms of, I'm not really sure we should call him a prospect given his age, but definitely something there. But I don't really need to touch on that. But let's move up to a fight I think you guys might want to touch on. Elias Theodorou taking out
shame.
Taking on Thunder Dan Kelly. Got the job done. 30-26 score, okay. But man, this was a sweat late, wasn't it? With that submission attempt, wasn't it? Man, West.
Yeah, I had quite a bit of money on Elias here too, man. And dude, look, I saw people after this fight talking about him like tying or even getting the record of like most strikes landed over DJ and somebody else. And dude, I literally couldn't laugh out on it through my computer screen at people like, are you really how not all strikes are the same. I don't know how you even fucking type those fucking stats out. Like, seriously, the shit this dude was landing, like, was those like flailing, spinning around kicks he was fucking landing? Is that considered a landed strike? Like,
yeah, so it was like
that's a significant
it was like the
strike.
back. It was like the it was like the backside of his foot.
It just
he was doing the back turn and run kick. Like seriously, the dude was turning around and running and just like flinging his leg out while he was running away. Like don't even type that shit. And it was, of course, some Canadian journalist and shit that was doing that. Oh, Elias has got the strike record.
Man,
and I was like,
he is a real terror at middleweight. He's a tough out.
Man, dude. Like, and dude, at times in that fight, like Dan Kelly was bullying that motherfucker. Like he had him running around the cage and shit. I mean, I'm glad to cash my bet, but there at the end, I was like, man, knock this motherfucker out. Dan Kelly, like, dude, that was just, and then somebody else was on there, like defending like his striking and strikes landed and shit, and of course it was our favorite guy that hates everything about MMA, but he's had some Twitter interactions with Elias, so another dude that was defending this fucking striking. It's just like, man, how do you even type out the words Mighty Mouse and Anderson Silva? I believe it was Anderson Silva and fucking Elias Theodoro in the same fucking tweet. Stop.
I just don't get how bad his hands are. Like, fair enough, his kicks or whatever, they can be used as a good skill just for keeping guys away and stuff like that. They're not going to KO anybody, but his hands are fucking atrocious. Yep. And, I mean, he's at a good camp with guys that actually can use their hands a bit. And he was doing like a standing hammer fist a bunch of times. I was just like, what am I watching
throwing
here?
He was flailing down with like the front of his fist, like fingernails up, like knuckles up, and like flailing down with like straight on. I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? Like,
luckily, the only bet I had on this card is the over, which I got at -180 and -230, and that was a fucking breeze. Yeah.
I mean, Elias has goddamn pillow hands.
Yep. That's why I love betting his overs, because he can take some shit. He's got decent cardio, and he has beyond pillow fists and hands and everything.
I'll give him one thing. The guy's has made it like he's fought way above his skill level. Like he's made it further than his skill level should. You can tell he works hard just to make it this far.
His conditioning is incredible. His output is awesome.
He started showing me.
Dude, but Thunder Dan has incredible. His conditioning is incredible.
Props to that guy. Yeah, props to Dan Kelly. Like
for his age and his body, like he doesn't. He's no fitness warrior, but his ability to press forward constantly for like as long as he does in bouts,
on no knees,
blows me away.
With two like fucked up knees, like his right knee is literally done. I mean, any time Elias like even touched that knee with a kick, he was buckling, and the dude would stand right back up and start marching forward again. Yeah, respected Dan Kelly, man. No doubt about that.
I know we used to totally rip on Dan Kelly going back like 2-3 years. We used to just rip on him like this guy's a scrub. I mean, he's way exceeded expectations. Way exceeded.
If Dan Kelly would have got in it,
he beat a former champion.
Yeah, if Dan
legitimately Kelly won that fight against Rashad Evans, legitimately. I know it's old. I know Evans is spent, but still, he can go to the bank to Well, he can tell his grandkids one day that he might be able to tell them next week his grandkids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Dan Kelly gets in this sport at 30 instead of 40. You never know, man. Like you said, gas tank, chin, toughness. Like, seriously, he would have been a really, really good fighter.
In this sport, you can go really far with
those three things.
With gas tank hands, and it could take a punch. That's it. I mean, there are other facets that make you elite, but you can go really far with those things. Like a guy like Barberina, look how far he's gotten with basically those three assets. Like he's not a world beater, but he's very competitive in almost every bout he's in. Those are really the key ingredients. There's no special sauce, but having those things will keep you in the organization for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that a lot of these guys, that's all they're looking to do is not having to go fight for like Tashi Palace or something. So, anyway, next fight, or the next 3 fights rather, 3 in a row that went to split decision. So, yeah. I'll read off those 3 results, and then I'll let you guys give your take on any of those that you wish to desire. Jake Matthews, aka the Oceania, Justin Bieber, gets a split decision over Bojan Velikovic. Bilal, I forget his nickname, Muhammad, split decision over Timmy Means. And then Jessica Rose Clark in her debut getting a split decision over Beck Rawlings. Wes, I'll start with you again. Did you agree with the winner in each of these 3 fights, or did you think that any of these were incorrect?
I know in the Jake Matthews fight, I scored it for Matthews, but I had a substantial amount of money on Jake Matthews, so I was a little biased. I saw, quite a few people scored for Velikovic, but a lot of those people had money on Velikovic, so I think their opinions were a little biased as well. It was close, man. You could have flipped a coin. I don't know about Jake Matthews, man. He's still really young, though, dude. He's like 23 years old. I'd like to give him a little more time before I bury him, like I saw some people even was after that fight saying that he's not that good.
He's not that good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's great or anything, but he's 23 years old, man. If he doesn't, like I say it about Sage, and I'll say it about any other guy, if he doesn't get away from his father and get to a real camp, he will never be nothing. You can't be trained by your dad at a home gym and think you're going to be a top 10 UFC fighter. It's just not going to happen. The Muhammad fight, I can't remember how I scored that fight. I know it was really close. That was one of the fights I didn't have anything on. I didn't touch that fight. And then I don't really give a shit about Colin, so I'm glad she lost. Fuck her.
Yeah, Beck is. When Beck first came over from Invicta, I was kind of like a fan of hers, like just like just kind of her mindset. I know that she has like an abusive relationship with her ex, and and she kind of was like a different kind of a chick. And that was cool. I liked kind of her edge, but
she got around
hanging out with Dum Dum down in San Diego is certainly not helping. And she looks like a whiny little thing, like, oh, I just want, like one of those fighters. I just want to throw. And then, like, somebody tries to grapple you, and you get all like in a pissy. Like, it's like that's what happens. Like, this is MMA. This is not like boxing with like, okay, you can kick too. You know what I mean? Like, it's that really irks me. Anyway, New Sean, same question as I posed to Wes.
I didn't watch the Matthews Velikovic fight. I didn't watch the Chicks fight. I thought the Muhammad Means fight was actually pretty good. Really technical. Those guys were both throwing some pretty nice strikes. I had it for Muhammad. I didn't have any money on it. I gave him the first and the third. Pretty impressive from Bilal Muhammad. I mean, Tim Means is a pretty decent vet. He's got a lot of fights, and he's been in there. And he throws some very sharp stuff. And Bilal Muhammad's striking looked really, really good in that fight. One of those guys that he's had some losses, but I think he's continuing to grow, and he might be pretty decent with just kind of how he's moving along in his career.
Yeah, probably was his best performance to date.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yep.
Then the main event.
Ugh.
Fabricio Verdum wins, I'm going to say 4 of the 5 rounds to win a decision over Marcin Tibura. Tibura's first real step up in competition. I guess Arlovsky, if you want to call it that. I guess he snuck that one out. And he's, he just couldn't get it done. Simple as that. I'll start with New Sean here. What'd you think of that litmus test?
I mean, I was a bit surprised Verdum walked through a couple of those head kicks.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Verdum's
true.
definitely been dropped and fucking put out by some stuff that didn't seem as clean as the head kicks that Tibura threw. I also kind of expected more from Verdum once he got him down, or if he got him, once he got him down, he could have done a little bit more, but I don't know. It's heavyweights, and who knows what the fuck's going on. It was not appealing at all. It should have been finished, and I really don't care. I really wish it was Mark Hunt in that fight. That probably would have made it a lot better one way or another.
Yeah, I guess so. Wes?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give Tibura a little credit because he lands that head kick on 99% of the heavyweight division, and they're dead. I don't know how Verdum. I think he took about 5 of them. A couple of them wobbled him a little bit. And yeah, like Sean said, I think it was like the second or third round. He got Tibura down and was on top for like 3+ minutes of the round and just couldn't get anything. It seemed like Verdum played it a little safe in that fight too. There was that one time he hurt Tibura, and Tibura kind of backed up against the cage, and Verdum just didn't attack enough. I think Verdum played it a little safe. I had a pretty good bet on him inside the distance and was pretty pissed that he didn't finish that. But yeah, it was kind of uneventful, man. I don't know what you do with Verdum. I guess he's still right there. You only have about 4 or 5 really good heavyweights anyway, so the dude's always right there. I read a rumor, I guess today or yesterday, that they're talking about that Kane might be ready to come back, and they're going to do Stipe and Kane.
That's not
once
happening.
they pay Stipe, which they're never going to do. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not really too
So I
worried
mean,
about that.
even if that happens, keep Verdum on speed dial, or keep my boy. I think this is Hogano's division for the future, and that dude's going to be champ. And if they're going to have enough bodies to feed to him over the next decade, that's how I see it. I don't think any of these old dudes are going to be hanging with that dude. And you only got Stipe and Kane. Even if he comes back, is he good for a fight? This division is a wasteland, man. It's so fucking bad, dude. It's as bad as any division has ever been. I mean, it's really bad. But yeah, who gives a shit?
Those are correct statements.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know how many of these fights we're actually going to cover. Patience.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, I can assure you. Anyway, UFC Fight Night 122. Shanghai, China, which I guess is cool. I'm curious to see how the crowd responds. But the UFC certainly isn't bringing its A game when it comes to talent. I believe it's the 12-fight card. Yikes. First fight. I'm gonna say these fights, and I'll ask you guys cover or pass, and you tell me pass, and we'll move on. First fight: Cyril Asker versus something called Yao Zhang Hu.
Baby Dick should probably win, but you never know. It's heavyweights.
Oh yeah, he is. That's right. I forgot the Baby Dick reference.
That dude
That's
looks
the best thing
exactly
about
like Sean. Sean fighting in China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit. Luigi Burin versus the dude Rolando Die. I mean, Die.
We might die watching this fucking shit show.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
should win, but yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
He's facing a dude named Luigi.
Mm-hmm.
If you've
Whatever
done
that
your
means.
tape study on some dude named Woolgy, like, dude, you got to get a girl. Like, seriously, get a hobby, get a girl, something.
Yeah, I don't know. Dai goes from retiring and then he's fighting again. I don't know.
He should win.
Probably.
He should win. But if you're laying minus 160 on him, you got a problem.
He's a tough
1-800.
bastard. That's what he's got going for him.
That's exactly what he's got going for him. The only thing.
This Buren looks like a fucking. He's on those Chinese fucking vitamins, though. So who knows?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next, moving on. Gina Mazzani returns. I'm struggling to remember her first UFC fight, facing off against something called Yanan. Woo!
This chick lost to Sarah. Her first fight, Mazzani's first fight, she lost to Sarah McMahon in 1 round.
Yeah, she got choked, didn't she?
Yeah, she got choked
I remember
unconscious.
now.
She got choked unconscious by Mom Quit. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is very bad. Moving on. I think we could talk about this fight. Heavyweight bout.
People we know.
Shamil Abdurakhimov taking on Twitter sensation Chase Sherman.
Sensation.
Wes, I'll start with you here.
Oh shit.
Let's talk about some fighting.
Look,
are you gonna wake up? Are you waking up at 5:30 a.m. Eastern time for this bout?
Man, I don't know. I tweeted the other day, man. Seriously, this card is one that's really making me consider like I always get up for these fucking cards, man, and this is one I'm like I just don't know. But Chase Sherman, Twitter, whatever, dude. You know this guy like. He steals jokes and posts people's jokes and shit from like Facebook and shit. Like he's like your fucking mom on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think the line's right now. I don't think he should have been favored, and it's kind of flipped now. I didn't get on Shamil at when he was plus money. I'd have probably played him at plus money. I don't think much of Chase Sherman, man. I don't get what. I guess it is the time on Twitter kind of got him a little following among the hardcores that watches all this shit. But I don't know if he's got that good, man. He should improve at the gym he's at. So who knows from fight to fight. He's still fairly young, but yeah, I'm gonna pick Shamil in this fight, but no bet for me.
Nushan.
Yeah, I think the number was a little elevated just because people know who Chase Sherman is because of Twitter. He has terrible defense, and he has little to no power. Luckily, Sharif Abdurrahim has no power either, so this could be a pretty Fatty's gonna fatty is minus 220 on this. There's a reason for that.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, minus 220. Fight goes to the distance is even money. Like this is gonna be a bad fight, likely.
Yeah.
I think Abdurahimov is a little bit more skilled, so I'll pick him.
Oh, he is. I got the Russian D+, Chase Sherman a D-. I'm going to read off for you Chase Sherman's 4 results in the UFC. He lost his first 2 UFC bouts, losing a decision to Justin Ledette, where he was just outboxed. And then he got KO'd by Walt Harris in the second round. Then he KO'd Rashad Coulter in the second round and won a decision. Yes, a decision over Damian Grabowski, okay? Damian Grabowski, who could probably make, he's a light heavyweight. Now he's facing off against Abdurakhimov, okay? Just hear me out here. If I can pull these up. It's first of all, Abdurakhimov is 17-4 lifetime in his pro career. Okay, he lost to Timmy Big Dick. He won a decision over Anthony Hamilton when Anthony Hamilton's chin wasn't completely dead, and he won a decision over Walt Harris, and then he was KO'd in the 4th round by Derek Lewis. And this line is a pick'em. Why? Chase Sherman has 1 KO, 1 over what's his name? I mean, Rashad Coulter, who was just putrid. He hasn't shown that he can wrestle at all, that he can kind of move and pick and pop. He slows down and fights significantly, and he's actually facing a real heavyweight here. So for me, I think I grade Abdurakhimov quite a bit better, to the point that, I mean, he's certainly listed at minus 135, so he's just a shade over a pick'em. I don't know. Like, didn't Sherman open the favorite in this bout?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I mean,
what
are we doing?
It was minus 120. It might
All
have
right,
been
so
higher than that.
So we're not the only folks who seem to agree with this. I mean, I'm thinking Abdurakhimov was probably like a minus 165, 170 favorite in this bout. It's something I haven't bet yet, just because, you know, there's certainly time. I don't think this line is moving much before fight day, but in a fight card where there's not a lot of recognizable fighters and a shitload of unknowns, this is certainly, you know, given the odd structure, I think this is one of the more bettable fights on the card. And there's certainly advantages here for the favorite, Abdurakhimov. So certainly looking for him to get the job done. Moving on up, I'm going to say this is probably another pass. So we're going to pass on 4 of the first 5.
You don't, son?
You don't?
Bharat Kandare versus...
This guy isn't even ranked on
I can't even say
Tapology.
this.
It's crazy.
This isn't a real name, is it?
This is the 11th place featherweight
Your
challenge.
Dong song?
You don't song.
You don't, son?
This can't be real. You guys are playing games on me. What are we doing here? Where did they find these guys? Did they literally scour the streets of Shanghai for talent?
This is one of the guy that's coming off a loss in this fighting. That would be Bharat Kandare.
You think what they did was they went to the subways, like the crowded subways of Shanghai, and they saw the dudes like pushing people in to make sure they could fit all these people in the subway, and they said, "You look strong. Let's have you fight on this fight card."
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Rice farmers. All rice farmers. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What are we doing here?
Sean, did you actually have a take on this fight?
Fuck no.
No, I don't know who the fuck these guys are, dude. Like, seriously, I watch every fight. I don't know who they are.
You
Like
can't
I said,
even find tape on a lot of these guys. It doesn't exist. It's like behind some sort of paywall that in a non-alpha numeric language you can't even read it. You have no idea even how to sign up for the website to even participate in watching.
Like Capoza knows like almost every fighter on the planet, and I've seen him talking all week about he doesn't know who some of these fucking guys are. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he doesn't know who some of these guys are, nobody fucking knows who any of these guys are.
I don't know how they found them. Did they like reach out to a couple of handlers in Asia and they said, "Hey, do you guys have a bantamweight?
You got some
We need
stuff.
bodies.
You got a bantamweight? Come on."
Find the dude on the corner, opens up his trench coat. I got bantamweights. I got flyweights. $500 a pop.
Hey.
Oh.
Anyway, next fight, I think we'll talk about this one at least for a couple minutes. The return of the Hawaiian monster, Kalen Curran, against somebody that's been getting a little bit of hype on the social medias. Jan, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm going to say Yan Shan, because that sounds like it could be it. Yan Shan versus Kalen Curran. Wes, do you got any thoughts here? I hear there's been I heard it's max bet season again with this bout.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I heard a hurricane came in and changed the season, changed it to max bet season. I mean, I guess I could see playing her here. I mean, Curran's one of those, fighters we've talked about. She's lost 3 in a row. She's lost like 5 out of 6.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's still on the roster for some reason.
She's got, Dana White fondled, grabbed her or something, and he doesn't want to get outed with all these other Hollywood people, so she's on the fucking payroll till the day she dies.
Dana,
that's got to be it.
He grabbed her by the cooter. So, I mean, I could see one to take a little shot here, but I mean, honestly, how much tape do you got on Jan? I mean, really, how good do you know who she is? I mean, you really don't know, but I mean, you're just pretty much fading Curran if you're playing her. I could see it. I mean, she beat So Me Ham or whatever the fuck her name is.
That's not the same one.
It's not even the same one. So look, I have no fucking idea. I have no clue. I don't know how you could seriously. I don't know how you could have, if you're betting real money. I don't know how you could have $500 fucking dollars on some Asian chick. You know what I don't know. More power to you. You could say you did the work. There's not much work to look at, in my opinion. You're just fading Curran. More power to you, though. Who knows? Fucking know.
So, Yan's last 3 wins. The record of those ladies when she fought them was 0-1, 0-0, and 0-0. That's her last 3 wins. And then she got she had a no contest in her last fight. That is who we're dealing with. She's got a shit ton of finishes, but she's literally fighting a lady off the street.
School children. They're probably pulling out school children.
They pulled them out of the karate class.
I'm telling you, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, fuck. Who knows? Who knows in this fight? I don't know how you can have any real money on this fight, but to each their own.
She's only fought one fighter with more than one professional fight.
Exactly. How can you even break that down? How can you even I
don't know. I somehow wrote an article on it. I don't know how I did. I watched her last 2 bouts.
Well, there's shit on Curran. I get it. You can, you can look for angles to beat Curran. I get it.
I'll say this. I grade them both the same, a D. From what I can tell, from what I can see from the footage available, is this girl's long for the weight class. She strikes long. She does well in space. She's pretty athletic. It has some artistry to her striking, which is what I think people like. But it's hard to really tell what her grappling game is. And Curran, for as much as people want to discredit her, she can certainly push fighters around a bit. And, her wrestling is certainly not the worst in the division. She could potentially score takedowns, push against the cage here. But she's obviously lost a lot of fights, in devastating kind of fashion. The Alex Chambers fight comes to mind. She dominates the fight and loses. Curran's definitely not a fighter you want to have your money on, right? That just seems like a disaster.
Yeah.
So I don't know how one can honestly be confident in anything, in her ever. It's like being confident in Anthony Hamilton, right?
Yep. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, exactly. How could you? Yeah, that's ugly. So the only other angle is, do you want to bet this girl? And, basically a pick'em, we'll say it's relatively a pick'em. She's a minus 135 favorite. Do you really want to have, negative money on a fighter that has only fought one fighter with more than one professional fight? I mean, yeah, that girl's a veteran, fought 28 times, but that fight ended in some sort of weird no contest. Yeah, I think she was winning the bout, but the girl's also 37 years old, obviously way past her sell date. There's just a lot. It's it's not a warm fuzzy feeling.
Not even close.
I'm out.
Not even close.
I don't care. I think she could win. I would probably pick her to win because because there's just looks like more exciting tools there. And just because Curran's just has she's like Justin Scoggins in a way. She finds ways to lose. Even when she should win, she doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chinese fighter to get the win in her debut, but you can't have any sort of confidence in this, and I certainly wouldn't have any money on it. So that's my take. Next fight up, the dude, Bobby Nash, going to China, going all red-blooded American against another song? Keenan song? Is this like the sequel?
Any relation?
Is this the sequel to Brian's song?
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ. It might be.
I don't know if either of you guys have seen Keenan's song. I literally just did a breakdown and wrote it up earlier today on him, so I could go through it quickly. But I don't. If either of you guys have thoughts, feel free to share them now. I'll take that as a no.
Well, okay. Bobby Nash, he's won both of the opening rounds in both of his fights. I know he got knocked out in both of them, but he's definitely shown a bit of skills in both those fights. I mean, it's not a good look when you get knocked out, but it's going to be plenty enough to get this guy out of there. Who is this guy? I don't know. I don't care, but I'm taking Bobby Nash.
Yeah. I'll let Jay break down the Asian, but if you're getting knocked out by Brad Riddle and shit, Bobby Nash is good enough and hits hard enough to get this guy out of there. He's not gonna get knocked out by this Asian, Bobby Nash.
Yeah. Let me just pull up my grades here. I got Nash at D. Song an F. He is terrible. I mean, he's got decent size for the weight class. He's 6 feet tall. He's long. He's got no punching power.
Coming off a loss.
His hands, is coming off two losses in a row.
Jesus.
2 losses. His last fight, he fought a dude who was probably about 5'6", named Brad Riddle. I think an Australian fighter. I think, and took a body shot and just kind of like whimpered up against the cage. And basically, it was like kind of like when a dude gets eye poked, kind of like backs away and like kind of like stops fighting, and then the ref's just like, dude, like I'm not stopping this, and then like takes like another punch and just kind of crumples up like a bricks. It was sad. He's got his hand speed is like it's not good. It doesn't fit in the organization. He's got a decent shot, like he'll go in for a takedown. He's pretty fast in that regard, and his grappling game isn't terrible. But he's facing a guy who he's a former collegiate wrestler at Michigan State, same school that Gray Maynard and Rashad Evans went to. So you can see the talent there. So I don't see how he's going to take down Bobby Nash in this bout. I really don't. Nash hits harder. He's physically stronger. He's a better wrestler. And he's already faced UFC caliber fighters. He has 2 losses in the UFC, but he's against guys that are at this point guys that are probably going to fight 8 to 10 times in the UFC overall. So we're talking about, they're not world beaters by any stretch, but legitimate fighters. And he's been very competitive in those bouts. Yeah, he lost them and kind of gave them away later on, but he certainly showed that he's capable of fighting. Song is not that guy. This is by far Nash's worst opponent since he's been in the UFC, and is an opportunity for him to get his first win. I think this is a great opportunity here to get the job done against a fighter who's simply just isn't up to snuff. So Bobby Nash wins. You could parlay him, but I think the better play here, honestly, you could get like inside the distance or even preferably KO. I just didn't like the way Song kind of gave up in his bout, in that bout where he took the body kick. Like, it wasn't like that tremendous of a strike. And just the way his lack of recovery definitely rubbed me the wrong way. So I'd be looking for a KO prop. That should be plus money. So yeah, Bobby Nash, one of the better bets on the fight card. And, right, Nushan? I believe this is
first leg of the consensus.
the consensus, and what are the odds on that currently?
They have moved, so it is minus 320. I don't know. I guess it was minus 320 when we talked about it, but yeah, it's minus 320.
No, we have. Did we go that or inside the distance?
No, we took that and we took the other.
Oh, that with the, okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Next fight up, and I guess is like if you do gotta set an alarm for this fight card and you want to wake up for something, this is I guess like the first like can't miss fight on the card. Is that I think that's correct.
Yeah.
The return of the dude, the longest last name in MMA, Zabit Magomed-Sharipov, taking on World Series of Fighting reject Shaman Moraes. I'll let Wes start here. This might be the best fight on the card, no?
Yeah. I think we all was pretty damn impressed with Zabit's debut in the UFC. I mean, he was fighting an undefeated guy, not world beater or anything, but Santiago wasn't too bad. Undefeated guy when he fought him, and man, he put on a show, dude. Just so much flashy stuff. Came off the cage with some stuff. I mean, it was just it was fun stuff. I think he's a really good fighter, man. He's still only like 26 years old. He's still, training, I believe, still over in Dagestan and stuff. But, man, the guys they have over there. So I think he's getting some good training. It's usually pretty crazy to see a Dagestani guy that's got the striking and just, all that flashy stuff. They're more the, wrestling, take you down, kind of ground and pound on you. So it's pretty refreshing to see one of those guys from that part of the world that fights like that. And, yeah, I mean, Moraes, man, I don't think he's terrible, and I think this line's gotten a little bit crazy. I think minus 500 on Zabit's getting a little out of control. I do think he wins this fight. I got him in a parlay when it opened at like I think it was minus 400, something right there. I think he wins this fight, but man, it could get a little close. I mean, Moraes he's got a decent win over Palomino. That was a pretty decent win. He got pretty starched by Moraes though. So whenever he's fought that level of guy, he's gotten beat pretty soundly. But man, I just don't know about plus 400 in this spot. That I understand guys taking a little shot here. I know our boy ex co-host Sean, he's taking a little shot here. I believe somebody else on here is going to take a little shot. So I can't fault that, man. I think Zabit gets it done, but yeah, I can't lay 500. 400 was about as steep as I would go here, but I think Zabit gets it done. Should be a really fun fight though. Moraes comes to fight every time, so it should be really fun.
New Sean.
I could definitely understand people playing Zabit at the opener. It was minus 315. That's reasonable. But he's definitely got parlayed up, and he is a bit overpriced in my opinion. I think he just gets that way because people like to see the flashiness. He is very, very skilled. He's got a pretty damn good sub game, and his striking is very, very nice. But Shaman Moraes, he's definitely been in some tougher fights.
Yeah.
He's been in there. I know Marlon Moraes was able to get him out of there finally in the third round. But I'm at plus 400. It's going to be a small bet, but I gotta just pay it just to see.
I hear you, man.
Maybe Zabit goes in there and just absolutely destroys him, and minus 500 was even low. I'll take a little bit of risk to see what he's made of against a somewhat tough guy. But
that Palomino fight
was a good one. Likely finishes him.
That Palomino fight was a decent win for him, man. Oh, yeah. I actually watched that one, went back and watched that fight. That's not a bad win, man. That's what kind of makes me a little shaky here on Zabit. So,
yep.
I haven't finished my grade on Moraes yet, so I'll definitely share that at some point over at MMAOddsbreaker.com. But I got Magomed Sharapov a C+. And man, I just think that might be understating it. I'd like to see a little more from him before, we really anoint him as a threat in this division, but he can grapple, and his striking is like
nice.
Pettis. It's like Pettis. Like, yeah, he could potentially throw all the tools in the shed. So much variety, and he hits hard. He's dangerous. And unlike Pettis, he's a lot more aggressive. He's not just looking to snipe with one strike. He could be very interesting in this division. There are some matchups down the road with, like a Doo-Ho Choi or a Korean Zombie, dudes like that, which could be really, Yair Rodriguez. I was thinking about the other day. That would be a really fascinating matchup. I think he's kind of, right around where those guys are currently in terms of, talent in the division. But you gotta, it's going to take another fight or two where, he continues to impress with that variety before he gets that kind of a bout. But I mean, I know others are higher on Moraes than I am. I mean, I don't know if I really buy into the hype. He didn't really do much, to impress me, in his time in World Series of Fighting. I mean, I get that he's still fairly young at 27. I mean, the Marlon Moraes loss, different weight class too. Beating Peralta doesn't really tell me much. And then, winning a decision over Palomino. Palomino, a tough dude for sure, but, I don't know. I think this is, in terms of just what this dude brings to the table, Magomed Sharapov I think it's just going to be too overwhelming for him. And I think, a finish is definitely possible in this bout even. So I'm going to go Zabit Magomed Sharapov. I have one bet on this fight card so far. It is Magomed Sharapov. I'm in a parlay with a fight later on the card. There's a reason why he's been pushed into a minus 500 favorite. I think the dude's the real. Moving up to the main card, another interesting fighter is debuting. His name is Muslim Salikov, and he's taking on, Lance favorite Alex Garcia. Wes, we'll start with your thoughts here.
Yeah, man, Alex Garcia is just what a wasted pile of fucking just talent, man. I don't know. I think we all thought he was just going to be some crazy, good guy, maybe competing for a title and shit. And it's like the only guys he's beaten since he hit the UFC were, just some washed up fucking dudes, I just don't know what to think of the Russian here. I know he KO'd Gallard and Ivan George a little bit back, but who are really those guys? I don't know. He should win this fight, but I could see Alex Garcia maybe getting this to the mat and catching some kind of crazy sub or something. That wouldn't surprise me at all here. I'm gonna pick the Russian here, but I can't lay 2-1 on him when I can see outs for Garcia here. I know Garcia's just, vastly underperformed since he's gotten to the UFC, but you can still see the talent from time to time from him. So I can't trust 2-1. I can't trust Garcia enough to lay, a dog bet on him either. He's so inconsistent. So I'm gonna pick Russia here, but I can't bet that at 2-1.
You, Sean?
Yeah, I agree with Wes. I don't think Alex Garcia is anything special, but who knows with the Russian? I know there's a bit of hype around him, but he KO'd Melvin Gillard, and he was like 8 rails deep at that point. So I don't know how much weight you could put into that. I don't know. Maybe this Russian shows up and throws some wild shit and wins another fight by spinning something, and maybe we'll have something else in the welterweight division, but I can't lay it, and I don't trust Garcia either, so hopefully it's a fun fight.
Yeah, like Maurice, I again look for my grades later on this week at MMA Odds Breaker. But just a quick breakdown of Salikov. He is the only non-Chinese person to win this most prestigious wushu competition in the world, Sanda King. He's like a 5 or 6 time world wushu champion, gold medalist. I think he won. The competition's every other year, so every odd year. So he won every competition from 2005 to 2015 except for 2013, and he was silver medalist there. So this guy is elite wushu striker. There's a lot of striking talent here. And he's won 11 of his 12 MMA bouts 11 of his 12 MMA wins have come by KO. He has 1 loss back in 2012, and he hasn't lost in 5 years. So the striking talent is significant. I mean, I just kind of wonder about, obviously Alex Garcia is a fairly decent grappler. I really think that's the only way he could win, because Alex Garcia is going to be at a huge disadvantage striking wise with this guy. I mean, it's not even close. It's a night and day difference, and I think that's a real major issue. This guy is also trained with American Top Team as well. I don't know. The one thing I know about Dagestan is never bet against them in a fight. That seems like a really bad idea. It's a losing proposition. And Alex Garcia is facing a guy who's fought, most of his career fights have been in China. Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 of his last 8 bouts have been in China versus a guy who's never fought in China before, and Alex Garcia. So the guy's going all the way across the world for a fight with a guy who's fought in front of this audience many times. That's usually a terrible angle, facing a guy with a lot of talent in Salikov. This dude wins. And I think does so in, a pretty entertaining fashion. 3 fights left to break down. If we want to, I know Bruce Leroy's up next. I think Wes is excited about that. Facing off against yet another Chinese fighter. I don't know what this guy's name is. It's Wang Guan. I mean, of course.
Everybody Wang Guan tonight.
Everybody Wang Guan tonight. Yeah, Wes. Are you going to be betting on Bruce Leroy, or are you going to be maybe holding off for the Wang?
My only breakdown of this fight is I have inside information. Bet on Guan Wang. That's it. Inside information. It's secret though. I can't give it up.
You think he's going to be a profitable pup?
I think he could be a profitable pooch on this card. That's just what I heard. I have no clue.
Are you actually betting it?
Why are you gonna do me like that, man? Why are you gonna do me like that?
All right, well, we'll allow
everybody go bet the Wayne. Get Bruce Leroy down a little bit more, and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
That's my breakdown.
Dushan, any thoughts on this?
No thoughts on the Wang, but Bruce Leroy is such a wild card. He looks good in some fights, and then he also likes to shit away fights. So it's tough to trust that dude with your money. But he's a pretty interesting dude. So hopefully he gets the win.
You have to think he's going to be super motivated fighting in the homeland of his idol.
You would hope, but
you would hope. He might even dedicate this performance to his idol.
Oh shit.
The late great Bruce Lee.
Hey, if he doesn't go touch the statue though, he loses it all. He's got to go touch that statue.
He better. Co-main event. China Goat, Li Jingliang.
China Goat.
Jingalang. Facing off against the dudes, Zach Otto. West, China Goat going to China Goat here, or is there an odds upset on the cards?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can ever count out Jingalang in a fight. I mean, that dude brings it every time. He's a really entertaining fighter too. But man, I don't know. Get this auto line's getting a little bit up there, man. Plus 160. I mean, if this gets up to 2-1 or something like that, I'm playing Zach Otto. I mean, he's a tough dude, man. Can wrestle. I think he could hold Jingalang up against the cage a little bit. I mean, there's always a worry Otto gasses a little bit. We know Jingalang goes for 15, and the dude always is throwing. So, but man, this gets up to 2-1 or so. I'm going to take a little shot on Otto here. The travel kind of worries me, like it always does when guys travel all the way over there. But yeah, I mean, I think if this hits a 2-1 line, that's just a little bit off to me. So. Yeah, I'll probably pick Otto and Tout Master, and if it gets up around 2-1, I'll probably take a little bit.
New Sean.
Yeah, Jingling's always fun. He does kind of let guys in fights and have to come back a bit, which is not great if you have money on him. I think the line is getting a little steep. I'm not going to play Zach Otto, but if Jingling was closer to minus 150 or something like that, it would be a play for me, but no go at 185.
I got Jingliang a D+, Otto a C-, but with Otto doing the whole flight across the world, facing a guy in his home country, it kind of grade them even for this battle. This is interesting because I think Otto's gone a little bit under the radar. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He only lost to Sergio Moraes, and then he's got split decision wins over Berkman and Kichi Kunimoto. So I honestly think this probably goes to the scorecards. Is going to be like another no one knows who won kind of a thing. Jingliang, is certainly fairly athletically gifted. He looks like he should be better than he is. He's been vulnerable to some mental lapses, like kind of fighting dumb. But he's got power. Otto, I think, is, he's pretty durable. He's only been finished twice in his career and hasn't been finished in over 5 years. So I think this is going to be a pretty competitive bout throughout. Both guys will have some moments in this bout. And it's going to come down to a close decision on the scorecard. So I'm kind of with Wes. If the price kind of goes a little further, I mean, I might just take a shot and just hope for the best with Otto. But I definitely cannot look at Jingliang at nearly a 2-1 favorite for a bout that I think is very likely to go to decision. I'm just going to take a quick gander at the total. I have not seen the line on that.
It is 2.5 at minus 185.
That's interesting. That's a little too much for my. That was minus 150-ish. I think I would look at it and maybe even look at goes to decision as opposed to the over 2.5. But yeah, I think that's probably the right side here. If you have to bet it, other than kind of a flyer on Otto, is to play the over. I think it's hard to see either get a finish.
What happened?
Was you okay there?
My boy Cantor just murdered a guy at the beginning of the game.
You didn't see him dunk on Ibaka?
No.
That was filthy.
Holy fuck, man. Call the Turkish embassy.
Who doesn't like that guy? Who doesn't like that guy? He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're
the main event.
The main event of the evening, and I don't know what to say here. No idea how Michael Bisping is back so fast after taking a dozen elbows at the head against George St. Pierre. But here he is, less than a month later, flying around the world, facing Kelvin Gastelum in Shanghai. Wes, we'll start with you. Do you see a scenario where Michael Bisping could win this fight? Because I'm struggling to see it.
No, none. Absolutely none. I mean, you could say the rock cold lucky shot. I don't think Gaslam's got an iron chin. I just can't see that. I mean, I don't understand how Bisping's fighting here. I mean, I had somebody arguing with me on Twitter, and I mean, I'm all for it. If Bisping wants to go make the money, fine. If they clear him to go fight, all power to him. But this is not good for his long term fucking health. I mean, it can't be. I mean, the guy's argument was, oh, well, he didn't get knocked out cold. Like, dude, GSP hit him with a fucking kick. I mean, the elbows he took on the ground, he was concussed. I mean, come on. That dude got concussed in that fight. This ain't good, man. 3 weeks later, he's flying around the world, took the beating he took. They said that last week or something, or just 7 days out or something from the fight, he was walking around at 215 pounds. The guy's got to cut 30 pounds again 3 weeks after cutting 30 pounds. Dude, this whole thing's got him getting just knocked the fuck out, like badly. And it's going to happen. I mean, Gaslam's really good. I mean, we're not talking about Bisping going and fighting some scrub 3 weeks after getting the shit beat out of him. I mean, he's fighting a legit guy here. Gaslam's going to kill him, man. I can't believe the line's still only 300. I don't know why it's not. Everybody ain't got parlays of all this shit. I got Gaslam. I think it like right around 200 and a couple things. And I mean, I love him inside the distance. I think it's like minus 150 right now, but I have a lot of money on Gaslam, like a whole lot of money. And, I mean, I always sweat bets. Doesn't matter what it is. But I mean, this entire card, Gaslam inside the distance is like one of the easiest things to pick for me on this entire card. So I think he gets it done and gets it done in devastating fashion. All props to Bisping for wanting to, go get another check, but there's no way this is good for him. I can't believe the people around him that's letting him take his fight, especially against a guy like Gaslam. But more power to him.
Yes. New Sean.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a bad one. Gaslam just is going to have such a speed advantage. He has an iron chin. I mean, I guess Bisping could try to wrestle. I don't know. I don't see a way that Bisping can win, but I've said that before when he fought against Rockhold. And look what happened. I know a lot of people are going to be on Gaslam, so that's always kind of scary. I'd rather see a bunch of people taking Bisping as the dog, but I don't see it. I played doesn't go the distance at minus 185. The price at that point, the difference between that and Gaslam inside the distance was really, really small. Just before recording, I also added Gaslam inside the distance at minus 152. I think Gaslam's just going to crack him. If GSP can crack you, Gaslam can fucking crack you, and it's going to be a sad night. Gaslam's been beating up these old guys, and Bisping is an old guy. He's gonna feel the pain. It's not gonna be good, but I will enjoy it.
And another thing to think about is like you got to think Bisping is just showing up for a check. Like really, think Bisping's really there to win this fight. I just can't see.
Oh hell, they needed a headliner.
Yep,
and there's not really many that are going to step in this late notice at 185 to fight somebody like Gaslam. Bisping was like, come on, give me some cash, let me fight, and then I'll have one more fight, and then I'll be done. This is it's not good. There's a lot of things going against Bisping here. There's a reason.
I'm surprised he got cleared, man. I'm really surprised they cleared him. I guess it's because he wasn't knocked out cold, but come on, man.
He took some bad elbows when GSP was trying to finish him, like fucking heavy.
Probably worse than getting knocked out cold. You know what I'm saying?
Like the minor concussions, the mini concussions. Yeah.
Because he took 9 of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
right, I'll finish this up. I got Bisping a B, Gastelum an A-, and that's on kind of their best days. Reality is we don't really know what we get from Bisping in this bout. You know, these guys both touched on it. Short notice, coming off, a loss. What is the motivation here not having the title? He's already said his last bout is going to be in London in March, headlining that card. So what is the point of even doing this? I get he's doing the UFC a favor after they made him a multimillionaire. I'm sure he was already doing pretty well in his last bout. He's been in some movies, been in some TV stuff, fought a bunch of times in the UFC. He's had a pretty lucrative career as far as MMA is concerned, but I'm sure that St. Pierre bout really kind of was his biggest payday in the UFC. I don't really know how it wasn't, to be quite honest with you. Main event, million pay-per-view buys. So I guess he's trying to do them a favor, plus the TV gig he's doing. But the big difference for me in this bout, all that other stuff aside, is just hand speed. Bisping has struggled with guys who can, really just kind of flip in and catch them. That's how he was caught against St. Pierre. It was just a jab. Didn't even see it coming. Gastelum, he has some minor faults. He's obviously small for the weight class. He's not a natural, heavy puncher per se, but his hand speed is right near the top of the division, and I don't see how at some point in this bout he doesn't clip Bisping with a jab and put him to sleep. Follow up with strikes. I know Bisping does decently well to recover, but here it's going to be hard because he can get clipped really easily. The shot that Weidman took, that Gastelum rocked him with bad, Bisping doesn't recover from.
Nope.
Doesn't. He's done. So that's it. There's really no real other reason to break this down. Other than that, Gastelum's been really resilient. He's been finished by Weidman with a submission. He recovers well from strikes. Gastelum. He's not really hurt much in bouts. He's got a very good chin. Pretty resilient. That's the way I see it. Gastelum catches Bisping at some point in this bout. It may not be in the first minute. It may not be in the first round, but at some point he'll catch him, and that will be it. Gastelum wins inside the distance by knockout. And I believe that's our second leg of our consensus bet. Our 5dimes.eu consensus bet of the week is Bobby Nash money line parlayed with the Kelvin Gastelum inside the distance line. Sean, can you confirm what the odds are on that?
That is a parlay that comes out to plus 118.
All right, so the 5dimes.eu consensus bet, Bobby Nash, Gastelum inside the distance, plus 118. That is our lone consensus bet of the week, and concludes our show this week. So, on behalf of the rest of the show, for our American audience, have a great Thanksgiving. I don't know what you guys do in Canada. I guess you go to work and
watch football at work.
Watch football at work and make some bets on American football while you're there. That's cool. Europe, Australia, wherever else you folks listen to us, I guess for the folks on the other side of the world, I guess it'll be nice for you guys to actually have some fights that actually happen at an hour you're normally awake. That's cool. I'm sorry that the fight card is not really up to normal snuff. But on the bright side,
but next week they got the Ultimate Fighter finale,
and UFC and UFC pay-per-view with the return of maybe Wes's favorite fighter in MMA currently, the Hogano.
The Hog.
The Hogano.
I know Wes is pumped about that, and we'll be back next week breaking that down. So enjoy, and we'll talk next week.